This video is going to be a 4-week challenge review with Jackson, and he did an incredible job. He did the 4-week challenge by himself the entire time in the cold winter of, are you in Indiana?
Yep.
I love it. So he did an awesome job. So we're going to break down what it was like. Jackson, like I said before, we'll talk about what were some of the challenges that you were facing before, what was the program like, and then where were you after? So talk through with me, what were the main challenges that you were running into as a catcher before the 4-week challenge started?
Yeah, so before I really had problems with my stance. My stance was really like lanky. It wasn't really strong foundational wise. Another thing was I would drop my glove, but I really wasn't timing right. I was kind of guessing on all of that. It wasn't very smooth. My blocking, it's definitely gotten better. I didn't have as many blocking drills I could do, at least not that I had in mind. And throwing, that was really, I didn't really think about starting the turn. I'd already set up like a stance where I'm already turned a little bit, but I didn't think about getting my forehand, which has really shown to be very useful.
Yeah, that's so good, man. It's so funny listening to all of your guys' feedback, and the stances was truly one of the biggest takeaways for everyone.
Oh, definitely.
Before we did this, did you think that you had any sort of problems with your stance?
No, not at all. I thought it was a decent stance. I mean, it felt good. I didn't think me was wrong with it. So
Okay. See, that's so interesting because you didn't even know that you had any issues with it. And then you come in and you learn about the stances. Describe what the changes were like. Did you feel more athletic? Did you feel stronger? Talk to us a
yeah.
little bit about that.
So I definitely felt a lot stronger. I felt a lot more firm. I was a better target to throw to. I looked better for the pitcher. I felt better myself, more athletic. Because beforehand, I really kind of sat on one side, typically my right, is where I would kind of put my weight on. And now I've got more centralized my weight. It just feels a whole lot better, and I feel a lot stronger because of it. Because I can use both legs instead of just really one leg, and I've seen a ton of improvement from it.
That's so awesome, man. That is great. Okay. Tell me about the program and what the experience was like from your perspective. Like, if you had to describe what it was and what happened, how would you describe it?
Yeah, so it really broke down all the weeks or it broke down each week what we had to do and what were ways we could improve on it and what we could do to get better. You gave us really constructive feedback, which really, really helped me and realize what I was doing wrong and what things I could look out for moving forward. Each week we did a different thing. The journaling also gave me really good feedback as I went on, and everybody in the group, we all started out thinking, more than likely thinking our stance was pretty good, how everything was going was pretty good, and we would work through each week what we were doing and what we were improving on, what we were specifically working on, and how we could improve on it. And each week we would progress to the next thing, to the next important thing, up until the end.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned a few different components of what it was, right? There was a Zoom call, or it wasn't necessarily on Zoom, it was in the app, but there was a group
Yeah.
call for an hour once a week. And then I would send you a video every day. In that video would be the teaching, the instruction, and then you would go do that, film yourself, post it. I'd give you some feedback and you would write in your journal. Talk to me a little bit of what we talked about with the journal and what you saw come out of it after you did that for 28 days in a row.
Yeah. So in the journal, I wrote down every day 3 things I did well on, 1 thing I wanted to improve on, and how I would do it. And what I wanted to improve on the better part, I would see myself get better every day. And eventually, within a day or two, it'd be in the well part, and I would be moving on to the next thing I need to work on. But I mean, just simple things like that really, it gave me really good feedback, like you talked about with the feedback loops. So I was really getting through everything and understanding what I was doing wrong, what I needed to work on, and how I could do it.
So great, man. What did that do for your confidence and your mindset when you keep seeing things that you write in better show up in well the next day or 2 days later?
It definitely boosts your confidence. It shows that you improved, you've gotten better instead of just staying in the same spot. You're like, man, I really wish I could fix this, but you're not focusing on anything. Well, with journaling, you can see yourself getting better, and it's just awesome to feel that you've improved.
The other cool thing about this, right, is it's not just the journal where you can see yourself improve. You saw yourself on video every day. Now, before this, had you ever videoed yourself or had you ever journaled for catching specifically?
I had never journaled. and I had videoed myself, but not mainly for constructive feedback or anything. It was mainly for just getting a video and kind of sending it out.
This is one of the things that blows my mind. Like, if people understand how to video themselves and how to journal, they can have those self feedback loops, right?
Mhm.
Where they can look at themselves and figure out what they need to do, and then they go work on the thing that they need to do in order to
Yeah.
better at that. But a lot of times we don't know what to look for when we see the video.
Mhm.
Would you say before this, you didn't really have an idea, and now coming out of it, what are some of the things that you're looking for when you're analyzing your own video?
Yeah, I would really be in footwork, way I'm transitioning, the timing on everything, and how my stance looks while I'm receiving. Am I moving too much? Am I just a lot of the smaller things? And if those smaller things are minimalized, all the bigger things will look a lot better.
That's so good. So if you had, so say you get a video of another player, right? And you could do this, by the way, with the stuff that we
Mhm.
talked about. You could go teach some younger catchers how
Yeah.
to get into a good stance, all that stuff. So if you're looking at like a catcher and they are in a stance and they go to block, what would be some of the things that you would look for in that video?
I'd be watching their glove. If their glove goes straight to the ball or where they're trying to block and it leaves their body, it's gonna look good more than likely. But if it comes up, then okay, they're gonna get down slower. So I'm gonna watch how they're doing that and kind of show them just take the glove straight down instead of coming up.
Mhm.
And whenever they get down to that stance, I'm gonna look at how far like they're sitting back on their legs. If they're not back, well, we want to work on getting lower on.
Love it, dude. I love it. Man, that's awesome. Do you think you would have been able to articulate that stuff before doing the 4-week challenge?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So here's the cool thing. I was just talking with one of my other clients and I was telling him, I was like, all right, now your homework is to go do a lesson, do a little camp for some catchers in
Mhm.
your little league. Because as we learn, the best way that we learn is actually by teaching other people. Because when we go to teach something, then it exposes the gaps where we don't actually understand that thing. Then we have to go back and
Mhm.
learn it and then teach it again.
Yep. Mhm.
I mean, dude, you could have your own little side business coaching
Yeah.
catchers now after this.
So I actually do help my youngest brother. He's a catcher. I help his team. They've got like 2, 3 catchers on that team, and I help them on Sundays typically. And I'm probably gonna start doing some like lessons during the
Come on, that's what
and
I'm
I'm gonna
talking
and
about.
I'll be definitely using the stuff you teach. I'll be like recommending you too, because like I'm getting a ton of this information from you. Like I feel like you're just a great source, and everything I'm doing a lot of stuff. All the stuff I'm doing right now is mostly from you.
Well, that's awesome, dude. That pumps me up because here's the thing, right? All these catchers, especially the young guy, right? Even
Mhm.
what we were just talking about, you thought you were in a good stance, and then you realized, oh, actually, I wasn't as athletic. I was kind of off balance. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't really fluid, right?
Mhm.
But you can fix that so quickly if you just
Yeah.
have the right information.
Mhm. And now I
So
can really feel myself whenever I'm not balanced.
yeah,
It's way more easy to like notice because I know what I need to feel like whenever I'm in the right stance.
yeah. And now when you go teach these younger kids, what's going to happen? Because this is the same thing that happened to me as I started other catchers. As I'm trying to explain things, I'm like looking at them and I'm like, that doesn't look right. How do I get you to make it look right? And then you start to play around with the words. And then once you start to articulate the words, then that comes back into your own game too. And you start
Yeah.
getting better because as you coach these younger guys, right, they'll make the same mistakes as you, but they're just not strong enough. They can't like make up with just muscle like you
Mhm.
can. And so you'll see their glove bounce super hard because they came up too
Yeah.
early, right? And they're not
Yeah.
necessarily strong enough to minimize it. So it's actually really interesting. If you can get the young guys to move correctly, then you know that you're at like a really high level. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for you on that, man.
Yeah. I'm really excited to be doing that. And I'll definitely like, let you know how I'm doing with that. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, keep me updated on that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now another thing that I want to touch on. You did this completely by yourself, right? Most of the people had their dad or someone do it with them. All
Yeah.
the videos every day were you by yourself in your basement. Talk to
Yep.
me about that.
So yeah, that it was really difficult. You gotta like I was putting my phone typically up against like a window, and it's like it's got all the individual panes, and there's like 3 on the bottom, and go 3. Well, where the wood was, I would sit on the wood, and that's where I filmed most of my throwing, not receiving, my throwing and my videos. And then I would take it and sit up against a wall whenever I do my blocking and receiving. And doing the receiving part, that was really difficult because I was throwing it up against the concrete wall, the ball, and the concrete wall is completely smooth, so you didn't know exactly where it's gonna like go. So I had like seen different videos of me just not getting the ball right, and I was getting I was getting really like frustrated with it. But like I finally got it. I was like that. It's just such a big reliever once you do that. And like even the throwing, I would throw it up against a wall if I were just working on the glove work. And whenever I did throw the ball, I was throwing into a batting net. So it's you don't have to have a ton. Most baseball players have a batting net. You can go downstairs, use a wall if you have like a concrete wall or something. It's a little more difficult because you got to like throw it in the right spot. You got to roll it in the right spot and all that. But it's definitely doable.
Yeah. And that was something that I thought was so cool. Well, plus it's wintertime with you, right? Is there snow on
Yeah.
the ground? Okay.
No,
So
it's sorry, yeah. Southern Indiana weather is so crazy. It was like 70 degrees like a couple days ago. Then now it's like 40. So it's weird.
that's freaking awesome, dude. Because when I think about like reasons why people wouldn't do it, I feel like those are two reasons why people would be like, nah, it won't work for me because there's snow, so I can't go outside, or
Mhm.
I don't have anyone to do it with. And I look at you and how much growth you had, and I'm like, you can do it. I knew that you could. And
Yep.
and you did an amazing job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. There was one day I was able to get outside because I was catching a bullpen with my friend. I'm like blocking week, and I didn't want to really put my shin guards back on after I put them all away. I'm like, I'll just go ahead and do it here. I'll have him take the video of me. And that was really the only day. And I could have easily done it without my friend like filming me. I could have done it with just setting my phone up against the wall or the door or whatever. And I could have done it on my own. But at that time, I just had the resource. And I was like, I'm going to take that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have it, you might as well.
yeah.
And a cheat code for you, if you can spare $15, you can get a tripod, and then you don't have to keep
Mhm.
balancing your phone. So you
Yeah,
can bring it with you too.
that's true. Yeah, that would make it a whole lot easier.
Because I will say, and we didn't necessarily do like the video analysis, like where I would draw lines and stuff on you, but
Mhm.
if you do have a phone and you can get it on a still tripod, then you can like really
Mhm.
slow down and look at the receiving and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you have someone holding your phone, then they'll
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
bounce
they're just
it.
gonna rock a little.
So it makes it hard when you're trying to go slow mo of like, okay, where do we catch the ball? Are we moving back towards the center? Because then the thing keeps moving. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend buying a tripod for 15
Yeah.
bucks or so. Okay, very nice. Now we talked about some of the challenges that you had coming in. We talked about the journey. Where would you say now coming out of it, how would you describe yourself as a catcher now compared to before?
I'm definitely a lot more confident with everything. So I don't drop my glove all the way down to the ground yet because I tried doing that and my time was still kind of off. So I dropped bottom strike zone. And over time, I'm working lower and lower until I do get to the ground. So that's my goal to get to the ground, all the way to the ground. I just need to make sure it's timed up right and all that. So more practice. And just whenever I catch bullpens, it's going to slowly get lower. And that's one thing I've been working on. Another thing, the inside pitches. I used to just try and like I had my fingers up and I try and like just snap it back in. But now I use the L a lot more and I go a lot farther over. And now sometimes I try and get too far and get too much and it will hit like the inside of my glove and just bounce out. But
Mhm.
that's just also showing me, okay, that's where I want to flip.
Yep.
But for the most part, like that inside pitch, I'm catching a ton of like left-handed curveballs now because of it. And I caught a bullpen yesterday, and the pitching coach, he's like, "Dude, you made that a strike." It was a low and inside pitch, and I was able to grab it and just snap it right back up. And that was just like the best feeling ever, just to get that inside pitch and snap it back up. Like it's so just satisfying to get one of those pitches, and you just perfect.
I
So yeah, I
love
feel a
it.
lot more confident overall.
That is amazing. Okay, so really you'd say it's the confidence, it's
Yes.
also the skill set, right?
Mhm.
Like in your stance and your receiving, your blocking, you leveled up in your actual fundamental skill set of how to play the
Yes.
position of catching.
Yeah, I really think I've got a shot at taking the varsity spot this year because of the confidence I gained from this and then everything I've been implementing from this challenge.
That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. So, okay, now as you look forward, what's the next hill to climb for you? You're a junior this year. I'm guessing you want to go play college ball. What's
Yeah.
the next thing that you want to work on in order to get to that level?
So first off, I got to tackle getting the starting spot. I'm competing with a kid in my grade, so it's like I got to take it one way or another, and I think that I can take it this year. But what's really holding me back is still blocking. It's still the mental thing, and gotten a lot better because of that imaginary line you've had to think about. Whenever there's runners on and it's on an off-speed pitch, I'm pretty good about blocking. But
Mhm.
once it's a fastball and there's even if no runners on, I should block because I'm not really protecting the base. So I just don't feel the incentive to block as much. And
Mhm.
it's not that I don't want to block. It's just something that I'm having trouble like controlling.
It's
And
hard.
especially with
It's
like,
hard to
yeah,
do.
because like I don't want to get hit in the arms. Like I'm not real big. I'm pretty skinny. So like getting hit in the arms, it sucks. Especially by, like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And like I know it's gonna hit me there every now and again. It's gonna hurt. But also at the same time, most of the time it's gonna hit me like in the stomach where the pads are or the glove. And I just gotta get like over that fear, I guess,
Mhm.
and just drop and block and let it hit me.
Yeah. And so we talked about this a little bit in terms of,
Yeah.
how do we get down? Why are we late? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about what that conversation was and what you took away from that.
Yeah, so I've been trying to track where the pitcher's releasing the ball on whatever pitch he's throwing, and if he releases too late or too early, I need to be able to react accordingly. Now we've been catching bullpens inside, so it's kind of hard to track the hands. So I've been really struggling just where the hands are moving, and plus they're moving really fast. So it's gonna be a little more difficult to like pick it up. But once we get outside, I'm sure I can pick it up. But what we talked about mainly was where is that release point of that ball? Is it where it should be? Is it too low? Or is it up here? If it's low, and you need to immediately start because you
Mhm.
got like less than a second to react.
And
Yeah, it's
we talked a little bit too about like thinking receiving versus thinking blocking.
yes.
Talk through that and what like once we talk through that, what happened?
Yeah, so receiving, I used to think block, block, block. Okay, receive. And now that I'm thinking receive, receive, receive. Oh, block. I'm kind of like in the mentality of I'm ready to frame the strike, ready to frame the strike. Oh crap, I need to get down. And
Mhm.
I can realize, oh crap, I need to get down whenever the ball is coming out of the pitcher's hand. That's one big thing that I encourage a ton of people like just to see. Even batters, like if they see where that release point is, they can track the ball a lot more quickly. So just being able to think receive, 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 then block. You're also like not falling forward on the low pitch because you're anticipating the block. That's one
Mhm.
thing I've also found.
Mhm. That's so good. That's so good, man. Okay, so as you think about who this 4-week challenge would be for, right? You're a junior. We had some
Hmm.
seniors. We also had a 7-year-old,
Yeah.
12-year-olds. Who do you think would benefit from the 4-week challenge? Who would be a good fit and what would they get from it?
So I feel like almost all ages would get a really good benefit. Now, if you're like a senior or even a junior like I am, you only got 2 more years of guarantee baseball if you make the team. So that's one big thing. I think that middle schoolers would be the most benefited and younger. They would be the most benefited in doing this. And if they doing this, just I don't know, if they did like a 4-week challenge like we did, and then they carried on what they learned and journaled, I'm sure that they could be really good ball players. Just overall, they can get that quick feedback. They can understand what they're doing wrong, what they need to do, and they'll just all around be a better catcher, be better at the fundamentals, and look good.
That's so good. Now, one more follow-up question on that. The older guys, right? The juniors, the seniors, even the guys that are really good right now, dominating on the field at varsity level, getting recruited at high levels. Do you think that there's still things for them to learn in the 4-week challenge?
Definitely, because they can always come back and revisit all this stuff. Like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. I can probably tweak a few things and look maybe even a little better. It'll benefit everybody, but I feel like I said before, it benefit the younger kids more because they have more time to develop the skill.
Yeah, and that really is kind of the unfair thing about life in general, right? The earlier you get good information and good coaching and feed, the more time you have for those skills to compound. If you were to have gotten this information 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? I just wonder what would your stance look like? What would your fundamentals of receiving, blocking look like if you were to then need to work every day, journal, video yourself, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I do think you're right. I think the younger kids, it's best for them because it's just so foundational. Like it's just the
Mhm.
crash course on the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And I think you're right with the older guys. The best never get bored of the basics, right? That's that quote from
Mhm.
Kobe.
Yep.
And they're still going to learn a ton. So awesome, dude. Really, really great stuff. Any final words or big ways that you wanted to share about what you learned?
Be consistent. If you're consistent and you keep doing these small things, like you said, 5-minute habits turn into 5-year, and you'll get better and you'll see the effects of it within a month. If you do just these fundamentals, even maybe a few weeks, it really helped me, and I really encourage a ton of people like just to get into like just doing these habits, journaling and taking videos. Those are going to give you quick feedback on what you can do, and you can implement it next time you catch.
So good, man. Okay. You're a junior. I don't know if any college coaches will watch this, but if they do watch this, I know that they're going to find through this video an articulate, hardworking young man who just needs to get better and better and is passionate about the game. What might you say to one of those coaches if they are looking at you and they're like, hey, I want to keep my eyes on him because we need a good catcher? What would you say to that coach?
Say, coach, just bet on me, and I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll do everything you need me to. I'll do my best, and I will just want everybody around me to keep going, keep pushing, and just overall do their best. And I will work at all my skills until it's done.
It's awesome, man. Well, I can vouch in the 4 weeks that we've been together, man. You have been incredibly consistent, have worked really hard, have made no excuses, but just found ways to get things done. And I applaud you for that. That's going to take you very, very far in life, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good work, dude.